What's going on, guys? Welcome back to 25 High. My mic went dead during lunch and I forgot to charge my battery. Or my mic went dead this morning during my morning hunt and I forgot to charge my battery between hunts. But it is a beautiful day out here in South Alabama. It was freezing cold this morning. I didn't see a thing. But I just, a lot of people love hunting the rut, and I understand why, because typically, you know, the bucks are just running wild and they're doing whatever, and you never know when it's going to happen, and you know, you're sitting there and then buck just appears. You know, they respond to calls typically, but I don't know. I honestly, here in South Alabama, I do not like hunting the rut. It's just, I don't know, the deer have already been pressured for 6 or 8 months since, you know, bow season opened, it seems like. And they're just, I don't know, they're responding to pressure, and now coming in the rut with the does responding to pressure and the bucks already being very pressured and all that. And it's just a very tough time to hunt at all. And I don't know. Unless you're on a pretty unpressured piece of private land or a very secluded piece of public land, which we don't have much of that around here, it's just tough. So I decided to change it up, and I was like, well, I'm gonna hunt a lot of public land, and then I decided, well, may as well step it up a little bit, and I've been hunting with my bow just to kind of, I don't know, really try to focus on what to do and how to do it and when to do it and all that stuff. And I've seen a lot of deer. I've seen deer almost every sit. It's just, and I've been close to deer almost, I mean, pretty often, but I haven't seen anything but like spikes and little cow horns and stuff like that. And I don't want to take something that small, but even like a 2.5-year-old 6-point, if it walked out, I mean, I'd be happy with that. I'm looking for anything that isn't a spike, pretty much, and I just haven't seen it. And it's already the 2nd day of February. So, I don't know. I decided today I'm going to a spot. My buddy told me about it, and he pointed me, he pretty much dropped me a pin and said, hey, you need to check this out, because we were talking about that area. And I was like, yeah, it looks like a good spot, but I didn't really think too much about it. And then he goes off and kills like a 125-inch buck on this chunk of public that we hunt, and this is his first year doing it. So whatever he says, when he gives me advice, I think I'm gonna listen. So I'm going to this spot that he told me to go to. And what's cool about this place, it's only open 3 days a week, and it's archery only, except for I think the youth hunt maybe. So barely any pressure. It just seems like a cool place. Sorry, my gear shift kind of stuck right there. Seems like a cool place to hunt. Seems like a place where bucks can get old and get big, and even if they can't, I might take a little one. But I don't know, I've never been to this section of this public, so I figured I'd try it out with 8 days left of season. Nothing's working out for me, so I bet if I stuck with what I've been doing, eventually something good would happen. But I don't know, that's not my style. I don't like doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I don't know, it never works for me. So I'm gonna try something different. Hopefully it works out for me today. Very interesting little terrain differences. It's a totally different type of public. Because normally I hunt national forest, and this time I'm hunting, I guess it's still national forest, but it's like a very closely regulated, tightly managed WMA. And I think I've only hunted like one WMA in Alabama in my life, I think. So it's a bit different. Yeah, y'all stay tuned. It's the rut, no telling.
is they're trying to pull deer off of the public by putting feeders right on the edge of it. The way that could help me out today is I'm assuming that since this stuff out in front of me seems to be like the best bedding cover around, I'm hoping that these deer are coming out of this bedding, at least the does, are coming out of this bedding and then crossing this creek bottom to get into that private land. The reason I say that is because the more pressure they put on that private land, and there's hardly ever any gunshots in this piece of public because it's bow only for the most part. I think you can small game on it and stuff like that, and I think the youth hunt might be a rifle hunt, but 99% of the time there's not gunshots out here, is what I'm trying to get at. And if there's gunshots out there, even if there's a little human pressure out here, I'm hoping that the deer still feel safe bedding in here and then crossing this creek to get on that private to get that corn if they need it, if they want it. So I'm kind of hoping. And another thing, I was sitting here thinking, now this edge, this precise edge where the creek bottom meets, where the creek bottom lines up with where this open stuff meets the thick stuff, these deer might not cross that creek or might not use that exact transition. One thing I've noticed on public is they'll stay on like the safer side or get just off of those edges. They don't travel right on them all the time. So what might be happening is these deer are like cutting this corner or not using that precise transition, but they're still in relation. They're moving in relation to that transition. Like maybe they walk just inside that thick stuff or just over the edge of the thick stuff in this open stuff. And I'd imagine since there's plenty of oaks in here, they're feeding in here. But I'm really hoping there's a hot doe that wants to get some corn before dark, because that could mean good things for me. So who knows?
Alright guys, what's up? I didn't film an outro yesterday because, well, I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't film an outro. Before I saw that spike, I saw a few does way out in some pretty thick stuff. But it's the next morning. Now I decided to try it again. I got this morning off of work, so I decided to go back, and I think I am just gonna go in and sit pretty much right where I saw those tracks, because for whatever reason there's a lot of sign there, and I'm not exactly sure why they're exactly in that area, but like, I don't know, it's like, I want to say it's probably around 75-80 yards from the little road, and that's where like the majority of the sign is. And then down that way on down there, next to, it's got everything that you'd think would draw in deer. It's got the three edges coming together, the thick stuff, the open stuff, and a creek bottom. And on the other side of the creek bottom, I heard two feeders go off. I don't know why there's not deer there, but, and I mean, I guess there are, but there just was not the sign that I was hoping for down there. So we're gonna try it. Just it's kind of like a shot in the dark, but then again I'm hunting sign. But the thing is, like, normally I'd find the sign and then hunt the nearest like spot with where a few edges come together, which I guess there is an edge right there. I just don't know. I don't know what would make that deer cross right there, but there was like 3 different sets of old tracks from this buck and 1 set of new tracks, and I'm pretty sure it's all the same deer. Just one like good sized buck, at least I hope. So we're going in today. It's pretty early. I'm gonna go check it out. Probably do a little grunting, maybe not too much, and see what happens.
Alright guys, I know you can't see me too well, but it's almost legal shooting light. I got set up pretty much right on top of all those tracks, and basically there's like 1 set of super fresh tracks that are crossing this fire lane out in front of me. That are like a huge track that I showed you yesterday, and there's like 4 or 5 sets of older tracks that are going up and down this fire lane, as well as a few crossing and tons of doe tracks. I'm not exactly sure what draws the deer to this specific spot, but they seem to like it. I climbed way up a tree. I've got quite a few shot opportunities from right here. I don't know. I decided just to set up on the tracks because like 99% of the RUT sign, like scrapes and rubs, like they're really good to know if there's a buck in the area, and like you might be able to tell the caliber of the buck based on the rub, but it's not always that cut and dry. And quite often, like 99% of the time, it's night sign by younger bucks. That 1% of the time, it's day sign by like even smaller bucks. Seems like the big bucks do hit rubs and scrapes every now and then, but just not near as much. And I feel like a lot of that RUT type sign dries up the deeper you get into January and the closer you get to the RUT, the less those deer freshen up the scrapes, at least around here. Or maybe it has to do with the fact that they make the sign during pre-RUT and then they go to a different area during the RUT. I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet, but I may never figure it out. But this is one of my last opportunities to kill a buck this year, so hopes are high. This gotta be a good sign, guys. I literally just heard a freaking turkey gobble. 3rd day of February, and I just heard a turkey gobble. What? That's crazy.
Alright guys, well, I left. I forgot to kind of film an outro earlier, but I'm headed to work right now. I actually ended up walking around a little bit, and right there where those tracks were, I noticed that that buck was definitely chasing a doe right there in that area. I don't know, it was a couple days ago, I think, and when I left, I decided I was going to walk around a little bit before I actually got out of there. So I went to this little parking area, which there's a really nice edge between some open stuff, some oaks, and then some other open stuff, and that clear cut. I mean, it's like a spot that deer would move. There's 4 different habitat types coming together, and there's also like a creek bottom, and it's really a good spot, but it's like 10 yards off of the parking spot. And there were actually doe tracks in my truck tires from yesterday, like sometime between, I don't know, 6:30 last night and 5:30 this morning. Some does walked right there where I parked. So and there was no buck track in amongst those doe tracks except for old ones. And I turned, but I decided I was going to look around at least a little bit, and probably 30 or 40 yards away from the little parking area where the doe tracks were, there was a huge rub. Well, it wasn't on like a big tree or anything, but this rub was like, I don't know, it was above waist height for me. So it was like, I don't know, the top of it had to have been like at least 3 feet high, because it was definitely above my waist height, and I'm not a very tall person, but that's still a super tall rub for around here. So there's a good one in there. Big tracks, big rub, a ton of good bedding, and a fairly unpressured area of public. I'd imagine, since that's like, that WMA is managed for quail, most of the people that go out there are quail hunters, and there's not a ton of deer hunters out there, especially since it's bow only. But I'm probably gonna go ahead and make a video out of this. I'm actually pretty excited. I'm probably gonna do like a ton of cyber scouting, and by that I mean Google Earth, using Hunt Stand or OnX or whatever. I'm gonna just look around and try to find the most likely spots. This morning, by the way, was like the 3rd or 4th morning of this entire season on public land that I hunted and did not see a deer. I don't know what the deal is. There's definitely deer there. There's a decent amount of them too. There's tracks everywhere, like right next to the roads too. I'm pretty excited. I think I picked the wrong time of the year to try to figure out a whole new spot, but hopefully we can get lucky. I think this change was probably what I needed to kind of boost my moral, or not morale maybe, motivation, get a little motivation to get out there, because we don't have much time left and it's not looking good for me. But another thing I want to mention real quick is I don't know if that area is still in the rut. Because on the RUT maps, according to the RUT map that Outdoor Alabama put out, their peak rut is definitely over. So I don't know, maybe I should go out there with one of those can calls next weekend and see if that'll call him in, or just get in the right spot. Maybe that's what I need to do, is get where he wants to be. I don't know, but thank y'all for watching. Click the links in the description. Click the like button, the subscribe button. Go buy our merch. Yeah, that's about all I know to say. Always remember to live life 25 feet high, and we'll see you next time.